Today we're going to bring you a short lesson on velvet. And the reason it's short is because it's way too easy. And I think, as I've read over the internet of all the different things to do with velvet, it's amazing how difficult somebody can make something so simple. But I'm going to show you how to make it easy. And there are some things that you need to know with velvet. So, and velvet, just for the word, what I have on right now is like the hottest trend going. Velvet and pearls. For fall, for holiday, for winter, velvet and pearls. Those two combinations are incredible. The necklace, the earrings, the bracelet, we have it on our site and they're so affordable. It's like crazy. So our goal is to make you fashionable, but not break the bank. That's the goal. So with this velvet, keep in mind that velvet is a weave. And when I say that, every fabric has a first name and a last name. The first name is the fiber, the last name is the weave. So the first name would be cotton, silk, poly, all of those things. Rayon, wool, you get it. That's the fiber. The last name is the weave. And velvet is a weave. It's not a fiber. So that means when you're looking for velvets, you can have silk velvet, cotton velvet, poly velvet. And here's the trick to me is our more contemporary velvets are poly velvets, which is what this is. And the reason being is because poly, you don't have to worry about how you press it or how you wash it. Or cotton velvet, on the other hand, is very high maintenance. And I don't think there's a beauty difference between the two, as I have shopped and shopped and shopped and looked for velvet and touched and felt and all those things you do when you're shopping. There's so many beautiful velvets. And then I look at the tag and every one that I like is a poly velvet. So cotton velvet has a tendency to be more stiff and more rigid. There's even mohair velvet. So, you can go all extreme at all price points. This is a poly velvet. And the reason I picked it out was for several. The pile, or as it is, or the nap, whichever you want to call it, that just means that there's little short, tiny, little brush, think of a hairbrush, but really, really short and really, really dense all through this. Because they're poly, they'll stand up and they won't get crushed. So that's good news. This has stretch in both directions. It's a heaven. When I saw this fabric, I just went ballistic. I thought this is the fabric I've been looking for. It's a beautiful dark olive green. And the reason I love it is because so much is black, and this is dark and it's beautiful and it's festive, and yet it's not black, and I love that. I just love it. So let me show you a couple things I've done. The first thing, and I say to always do this, I took two exact pieces. So I cut two pieces. I washed one, I compared it back, I'm looking for color loss, and then I dried it and I compared it back and I'm looking for size loss. So in both cases, you can't even tell which one's been washed. This one still has, I know it because it's still a little bit damp. And so what I see is absolutely no change between the two pieces. So you can, I did wash before I made it just because that's my habit, and I cut 2 yards, throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer, and what I decided whatever came out I would like. But I did go ahead and do this test after the fact just to show you all. But it is completely washable, completely dryable, no problem. Okay, so then we're talking about once we've washed it and we know the color is good and we know it won't shrink and we know it's really low maintenance, then we can start to decide what we want to do. I didn't change anything with sewing, not the needle, not the thread, not anything. The higher the pile is, the more like movement you get when you put the two together. So when you go to sew and you put the two together, just kind of mash them down. And then when you go to sew, there's actually no shifting at all because it's kind of like pins. They hold each other in place. So it's really, I found no difference in sewing with it at all. None whatsoever. Because I anticipated I might have a little bit of a problem, I cut the garment a little bit bigger, just a little bit, a 1/4 inch, not a lot. Just in case I had it, I wouldn't have to worry about it. I could just serge it off. So when you're choosing your pattern, I chose a simple pattern. This is 195. I lengthened it 6 inches just because I wanted to wear it just like this with leggings. Comfortable, easy. When it gets marred up or to get too many, I won't say that. I was going to say it could be pajamas. It's that comfortable. It's really nice, and yet it looks so much nicer than what it is. So a simple pattern to start with. That's why I chose 195. Sorry, you can't see that. All right, and then the layout. So as you can see when you hold it, and I did a couple samples here, it's just beautiful. I mean, it is just so pretty. I did 2 samples so that you could see. And in this case, you can see that when you hold it up, you get different color. And that's because I put one up and one down. So I took these 2 samples, which you can see the selvage here. And if you turn one a different direction, you automatically, when you're looking at it, you get a different color. Not one single garment that I saw, not one, had the velvet upside down just for styling. So I can hear you all saying, well, if I turn it upside down, is that kind of cool for styling? No, it's not. The 2 different colors are not like different fabrics. It looks like you did it the wrong way. But again, you know, I'm sure it's out there some way and rules were meant to be broken. But my suggestion is all the pieces lay out the same way. This is the look you want. And what I would suggest is that you can see that one way is darker and one way is lighter. But I'm going to put it to where it looks darker because it makes you look thinner. We're always after that perpetual, you know, wanting to look a little more thin. This way, I will say, it's so pretty, and you can see it's opposite of what I have. It does catch the light more. I mean, it's really pretty. It definitely catches the light. It definitely looks more of the dark olive, but I just like the darker. I just, you know, I'm just that sucker for wanting to look that extra little pound thinner. All right, so again, be sure all your pieces are laid in the same direction. I don't think it takes any more yardage. You just can't manipulate a piece upside down. When I was doing this, because I was adding length to the bottom, I could have gotten away with less fabric if I could have flipped the sleeve a different direction, but no can do. Don't, you know, like I said, I haven't seen one velvet garment out there in high end. Now, I haven't looked at, you know, low end stuff, but at high end where the sleeve goes opposite the body and somehow that's regarded as, you know, good. So these are all just little rules. So let's review. Simple pattern. Everything's got to be laid out the same direction. Look at the different kinds of fibers in the velvet. So velvet isn't velvet. That's for sure. The fiber makes a big difference as to how the velvet will respond. And if you get into the worlds of polys, it's so easy and it's so much fun. So don't create this. These were done on my serger and they're just beautiful. And as far as pressing, again, I just pressed all of this with my normal steam iron. There's no marks because it's poly. You know, it's just really resilient and it's really easy to sew on. All right, so the whole goal is that you have a wonderful holiday season and include some velvet. It's beautiful. It's so luxurious and it's not in style all the time. So when it circles back in, it's really fun. So today here in the US is Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving. But all across the world, I can say the world now, I am so grateful for all of you, every one of you who is so kind and so encouraging and supportive. And we just love you. We just absolutely love you. We love what we do. This staff at Silhouette Patterns, I said, well, why don't you guys come out of the camera? No, we don't want to be on the camera. They all love you. We love what we do. We love shipping your orders. We love cutting the fabric. We love all of it. So from all of us at Silhouette Patterns, a little velvet sewing for your holiday season. Happy Thanksgiving all around the world. Happy sewing.